Hello and welcome to the Finance Magnets Virtual Summit. My name is Ben Myers. I'm the head of news at Finance Magnets, and it gives me enormous pleasure to moderate today's panel, Moving the Goalposts, Sports Partnership in Finance. Joining me today are, and if you'd like to introduce yourself, starting with Matt.
Matt House, Chief Executive of Sportquake. Sportquake is one of the leading sport marketing agencies in the world, and we specialise in football and esports specifically, and new economy sectors, including online trading. Excellent.
Marius?
Hi, I'm Marius Charles. I'm the Chief Marketing Officer for Libertex. Libertex has a long history of sports sponsorships. Matt has actually helped us out with our most recent sponsorship of Tottenham in the UK, and I'm looking forward to talking to you about it.
And Louis.
Thanks. Hi, it's Louis Cooper. I'm the Chief Commercial Officer for Axie. We're a pretty well-established broker globally, but this is our first foray into the world of sports sponsorship, and proud sponsors of Manchester City. Thanks for having us.
Jacob?
Yeah, hi, Jacob Plattner, Group CEO of Scope Markets. We are the sponsor of West Ham United on their sleeve, and we've been with them for 3 years now, and very excited to talk with everybody and discuss sports sponsorship today. Thanks for having us.
Really excited to have you all here. Thank you so much for coming here. It's something I've been looking forward to personally as a big Spurs fan that some of you know yourself, Marius. And it's sports sponsorship in finance. It really is something that's come to the fore over the last couple of months, certainly from a finance magnetship readership point of view. It's a very popular topic. And so I want to go straight into it. Football and sports sponsorship. Is it just a vanity project in the branding budget, or do they offer real ROI? What are the examples of successful sports partnerships, and how is the success quantified? Jump in, whoever.
Okay, I can take the lead on this one if you don't mind, Matt.
Sure.
So Libertex has, like I mentioned, a pretty long history with sponsorship. We've actually been sponsoring other clubs in the Spanish league for the past years. We still have an ongoing relationship with Valencia, and we were sponsoring Getafe the year before. And Tottenham is our first foray into the Premier League. We found that having a local sponsorship in one of our key markets really helps connect with the audience there. It helps with brand awareness, it helps with brand recognition, and if it's something that the company's committed to for a number of years, not just a one-time thing, you definitely see the brand recognition growing over time. Also, if you happen to work with clubs that are successful on a European level, that of course just makes everything that much better, because you get the European recognition, you get a lot of momentum going in other markets, and for us it's been something that was proven to increase our brand awareness and our ability to attract new clients and get our message out there.
And out of interest, Matt, why did it take so long to get into the Premier League?
To be honest, our main focus over the last few years was in markets outside of the UK. As you probably know, the UK is a pretty competitive market, and we had to make sure that our product and our offering was up to scratch, and we had all the little things that we needed to be in place before we make, let's say, a more serious approach to the UK market. Now that we felt that our product and our positioning was ready, we wanted to go in and more aggressively. We signed a multi-year deal with Spurs, and we plan to expand from here and just grow. It's part of our immediate plans to open an office in London. As you know, Brexit at the end of the year, official Brexit, not the first Brexit. It's going to change things about how we operate in a regulated environment. So it is our immediate plans to establish an office in the UK. Of course, get regulated in the UK. It's something that's under process for us now, and make sure that we can continue serving our clients, our existing clients, and also grow our client base over the next few years. So the sponsorship is sort of a commitment to the UK market through the Premier League, just to show people that, you know, we are invested in this. We're spending a lot of money here. We want to make sure that we have ties locally. You know, we wanted to use the Spurs Stadium as our home away from home while we're setting up our office. Unfortunately, COVID has sort of hindered those plans, but still, you know, it's something that we're really looking forward to do.
Brilliant. And before I jump onto Louis onto that one, I just want to introduce everybody to Lara Salvetta. Lara, fashionably late. If you just want to
I'm so
yourself.
sorry.
That's okay. Want to introduce yourself, your company?
Yes, no problem. So I am Lara Salvetta, CMO at 120 Advertising. I've also worked a lot with sports sponsorships. In one specifically was Man City for FX Primus. And yes, I'm excited to join the call today.
Brilliant. So we were just asking the first question about basically cutting straight to the chase of whether football and sports sponsorships are a vanity project, or, you know, part of the marketing, the branding budget, or whether there's actual quantifiable success, you know, ROI from it. And so very keen that, say you've got some people here at the very at the heart of the sports sponsorship industry. And so, Louis, that question to you, as somebody that's signed a deal recently, how do you quantify the success and the ROI?
Yeah, I think we'll start with the story. Obviously, Axie Trade has been around for a while, and we've actually gone for a bold new brand evolution and dropped the trader aspect of our brand. We're now called Axie, which is fairly bold. It's a confident statement, kind of us growing up and into a global player, I guess. And so we needed a platform for this new brand to live and breathe. The Premiership was an obvious choice for us purely because the global audience is huge. The UK market is a key market for us, an FCA regulated broker, and have been almost from the very beginning of our existence. So for us, the TVC rights and the exposure through LED and interview backdrops, etc., was a key part of bringing a global foundation for our new brand. But we come from a very hardworking digital background in terms of our growth. So we're almost 100% digital in terms of the focus of our acquisition and marketing. And we use this as an opportunity to engage with a partner that really understands digital data and audiences. Man City is a global brand. They have a presence, and they have a social presence and an email and a web presence in a lot of our key markets, both current and aspirational. So for us, being able to partner with somebody that understands segmentation, understands how to target audiences based on their propensity to buy our products, but also to help us engage in different languages and different markets, allows us really to sweat the sponsorship and get really decent ROI. And because it's mainly social driven and through the mainly digital platforms, we can measure it almost down to into real time. So we can really understand the journey that the City fans are taking in terms of understanding who we are, but also understanding our products and services. So for us, that was a hugely important part of this sponsorship, was to engage the audience, to get brand recognition, but also to understand through digital segmentation really how to target the fan base appropriately, but also in a personalized fashion. So for us, it really does, it is an ROI play for sure.
Anyone else to add on that subject?
Sure, I can give you our feedback. I mean, as I mentioned, you know, we've been with West Ham this is our third year, and I can say, to answer the question, one, whether it's a vanity project in terms of branding, to some degree, yes. For us, I mean, not so much. I don't think vanity maybe fits, but for branding, we were a fairly newcomer in terms of our brand, and, you know, partnering with a Premier League team obviously does help increase your brand awareness. I don't think anybody would argue that. In terms of ROI, we're also predominantly have been an institutional business, and a big part of our thought process when partnering with West Ham was really about using the stadium, bringing institutional clients, letting them understand the breadth of our product base and how that correlates to our partnership with a football club. And it's a way of entertaining clients at the same time. And for that, we were easily able to measure ROI. We were able to sign a few institutional clients that, you know, had kind of been on the fence about dealing with Scope. And it's really increased our brand presence since then. You know, when Premier League came back this summer, we took on a sponsorship with West Ham in terms of sleeve sponsorship. We immediately felt when we went to market announcing that partnership, and when the Premier League came back, especially in the way that it came back, predominantly no fans, a lot more branding around stadium, a lot more people actually able to watch the games, we felt immediate impact, and that can be measured. In terms of, you know, building a direct ROI number, I think it's generally very difficult from this, but you can see where it helps in certain markets, and you can see, especially around game times and how you activate your sponsorship, how you're able to interact with a fan base, and how that helps grow the brand and the client base. So I think it's tough from an acquisition level outside of institutional, at least it has been for us. But we can certainly measure some of the upticks that we get around games and events.
Just if I can just say something there, I think also when you take on a big sports sponsorship like that, you're also leveraging your brand and kind of building this sort of global presence that you may not have had before as a small to medium sized broker. Probably medium size in order to have the budget to actually take on one of these sports sponsorships. So really, I think that it's not just, let's say, focusing, if it is a UK team, focusing on getting the UK market, but you can also use that to leverage your clients in all over Asia, Southeast Asia, South America, etc. And I think that's where it can really benefit a brand. And yeah, it can be difficult to get the direct ROI. However, that is all indirect business, you know, that comes from that kind of credibility. So.
Yep. And I think that's quite fair, because unlike some of the others, like Marius and Louis had said, we weren't targeting the UK market. In fact, we don't target the UK market directly. We do target a global audience, and we use it globally, specifically, you know, in Kenya, where we have a local license, and in South Africa, where we know these games are watched, and we know it really helps bring our brand, as you said, to a global level. So I think that's very, very true.
I think the guys have just talked about that really well. I mean, football's the #1 sport in the world. And then the Premier League's the #1 football product in the world. It's very well proven in terms of proof points around awareness, credibility and trust in these emerging new economy transactional sectors, but also in traditional sectors. So it's obviously very heavily used by financial services generally. If you think about Standard Chartered and you think about AIA and so forth, Barclays. And so I think it's natural that fintech and online trading brands follow that.
I would also like to add, sorry.
No, go jumping. Go for it.
For us, you know, we actually do a lot of our acquisition, like Louis said, you know, on digital medium. And we found that the branding campaigns that we've launched following our most recent sponsorships has really helped us achieve better results with our digital spending as well. As a way of example, when we launched our announcement video for the new deal with Tottenham, we ran it on, you know, most of our social media channels, on mostly on YouTube, on Twitter, and so on. It generated hundreds of thousands of views. At the same time, we used the YouTube video of the announcement as part of our branding exercise across, you know, the Google platform. And we saw that for the duration of that campaign, when the video was live, we saw an increase of about 30 to 35% in search queries related to our brand. And that was a direct measurable result that had direct benefit and ROI for the company. And the branding spent, let's say, to get that video out there and playing in front of people, it wasn't that high. It was the value of the sponsorship and the brand recognition, the trust element that really helped. And also we saw that the segments of the audience that were interacting with us and coming to us because of that branding, it wasn't predominantly in the UK. And that was also part of the reason why we went with Tottenham. If you look at the team, they've got some global superstars in their roster, starting from the coaching staff, of course, with Mourinho sitting on the bench. But then you have global talent from all over the world, as far as Asia, or a lot of very very good players from other European countries. So we had immediate uptick in search volume from a number of areas, purely based on that association and the branding campaign we did around it. So I definitely think that it's measurable if you do it right. There's also, of course, a trust element. There is a branding element. It's all of those things, and that's why it's a fantastic medium, and it's something that we plan to keep using and even expand upon over the next few years.
It's brilliant. I mean, it's good that you said about the trust and the relationship between the two parties. I mean, this year 2020 has been crazy for a number of reasons: lockdowns, suspended seasons, empty stadiums, and cancelled deals. I mean, from a newsroom perspective, I've heard rumours or talk of quite angry and bitter fallouts between parties because of needing to renegotiate and the impact of COVID. And so basically, how has...
I know who you're talking about. But don't believe the rumors. There's more to it than that, but let's not talk about it.
I've heard quite a few, actually, different stories, different leagues, different brands. But how has COVID-19 impacted sports sponsorship? I mean, it must be a crazy time to negotiate contracts at a time when there's so much uncertainty and so much at stake. I mean, how has it impacted?
Opportunity.
Yeah. Well, you say that, but actually, Jacob mentioned something earlier that, and he was absolutely right. Part of having a sponsorship and having, let's say, a physical presence and a connection with the team is the ability to get people to the stadium. You have partners, you have associates, in some cases, maybe VIP clients that want to show up and watch the game. And that's the main thing that we're missing out right now from all our sponsorships. Before, we have clients globally. We had people from Russia, from China, from the Middle East that wanted to fly in and go visit, Valencia, take a look at the game, go to Madrid and watch a game with Getafe. Of course, people want to fly to London and watch a Tottenham game. I think Ben does as well. But we're sort of missing out. We're sort of missing out on that, especially now with the deal we have with Tottenham. One of the main components was that we actually have a VIP suite at the stadium. I think Matt told me it's one of the best at the stadium. Unfortunately, we haven't been able to use it. It would have been our pleasure to have all of you there, maybe even record the session from there. But unfortunately, they won't let us in. So that's the kind of things that we're missing out. It's the local activation that's what we really wanted to do. Partnering with a team in a capital city like London is an attraction by itself. The Spurs Stadium, it's an attraction by itself. I think everybody here agrees that it's the best stadium in the Premier League at the moment. I think even Jacob would agree, even though their stadium is pretty good as well. But, it is one of it's an attraction by itself. And then, no offense to Louis, but nobody really wants to travel to Manchester to watch a game, even though the team is fantastic. Everybody wants to go to London. So, that was part of the reason why we sort of, went with Spurs. They're a great partner. But it's all those added value items, the stadium, the location, the atmosphere, that really comes into play and benefits our brand by association and through the sponsorship.
Yeah, well, I guess sorry.
I was going to say, that's all well and good, Marius, but it could be an empty stadium next year. There could be 66,000 people less every other week, not seeing your brand, not be physically. Has this been
The clubs have been very, very forthcoming and very helpful to make up for that, that deficit. But we never expected that the audience that's live in the stadium, that's not the audience we're targeting. Obviously, it's great. We have the physical presence in the stadium. We're on the LED boards. We're on the screens inside the stadium. But that's not really what you're aiming for with a big sponsorship like Tottenham or one of the other teams. I assume the other guys will confirm. It's great to have the fans in the stadium. Obviously, we're fans as well. We want to be there. But the increase in the TV audience is more than making up for the people that are not in the stands. Honestly, from my perspective, it's just the VIP hospitality that we're missing out, and the ability to interact and network face to face with partners and clients or whoever else would like to invite. And that's the main component that we're sort of missing out. Everything else, the clubs have been very helpful in trying to make up for the fact that you can't go to the stadium. And
however, I would say, but because you're missing out on all that VIP kind of treatment and the interaction with the actual players themselves, that gives you more opportunity to negotiate with the clubs. And they're all, as you said, rightly said, Mario, they're so willing to do that. They're amazing, and it gives you more digital rights, maybe access to the players for more speaking kind of rights.
No, for sure. I mean, I could tell you, as an example, Valencia, we've been working with them since before COVID, right? We have a multi-year agreement with them, and it's been ongoing. But they came to us by themselves at the beginning of the pandemic, and they wanted to make sure that we're comfortable with the deal. They offered all kinds of amendments to the assets, to the rights that we have. They offered us a lot of inventory, a lot more LED time. They want to make sure that we're happy and we're getting value from our commitment and our relationship with them. And, that's exactly the kind of relationships that we need. We want to build long-term partnerships with the clubs and get the maximum out of it. But it has to be a beneficial relationship for both parties, both the club and ourselves. And this is sort of what we're trying to maintain.
Yeah, I think that's exactly right. I think, in terms of how COVID has affected sports sponsorships, there's been plus and minuses. And I think at the end of the day, they really do manage to cancel each other off. We've missed out from the VIP aspect of it. But in the meantime, it's helped us grow our global client base and certainly our retail client base through, as Mario said, either more LED time or more assets that they're willing to give up because of this. I mean, in the Premier League, obviously, you have more places for actual, logos and branding across the pitch, which absolutely get picked up. And if they're done right, I think they add a lot of value. But it definitely comes down to the partnership that you have with the club. I mean, we've been absolutely happy from day one with West Ham in terms of the relationship that we have. As Mario said, I mean, they came to us looking to find ways to expand the partnership and at the same time try and find value where, they knew some value was being lost from the agreement they had with us. And they did that very well. And I think, at least from all of the panelists here, they're all dealing with big clubs that really understand the value of partners. And, it's a two-way street. We want to be with them and they want to be with us. And if that's the relationship you have, then everybody generally comes to the table and works out the new world of that we live in. So I think, COVID's been one of those things where you just have to find, the silver lining and look for the things that that we're actually blessed as a business to be able to do, because we are all online. We have clients that generally are less affected by COVID because of, the target audience that we're going after. And, Premier League for a long time didn't televise the way that they're televising now. And I think that's been a huge benefit that we've all been able to take part in.
Yeah, I echo everybody's thoughts on this. I think first of all, there are minuses. We're in a unique position. We've never had a sponsorship in anything but a COVID world. So for us, this is kind of a unique situation. But if you have a look at the viewing figures since the Premier League restarted in last season, they're record numbers because people have missed the sport. There's the engagement levels in the Premier League are sky high. And that's an opportunity for all of us. I think the partner themselves is really important. Our experiences with Man City so far have been excellent. They've been very creative in terms of how they're manoeuvring through the COVID issue. They've been very generous in terms of some of the rights they've given us that we potentially wouldn't have got in normal circumstances. So I think overall we're pleased and we've seen a real benefit. So I think, it's about the relationship. And as everyone says, this is not a 3-month, 4-month, 1-year relationship. It's a multi-year relationship, and you need to build a rapport with the fans, and that takes time. We've obviously taken advantage of the fact that our strapline for the new brand is Trade Your Edge. We believe that the fans are the edge that the players have. They are known as the 12th man. We've seen real statistics around the fact that teams have had less success at home since the fans have been unable to attend the games. So, we've used it also as an opportunity through COVID to try and reconnect fans with players, with the game through virtual experiences. And I guess that's we're trying to bring that edge back to the game by, for instance, looking at giving fans opportunities to liaise with the players before games and giving them virtual experiences which allow them to be closer to the action. Global audience is obviously a play for all of us that have global businesses, and the numbers are huge. And as I've said, during COVID, they've increased exponentially. So it's an opportunity. But we are looking forward to being back in the stadium, despite what's been said around Manchester. I can't wait to go and see a game and have those experiences and just be a fan. So let's hope this doesn't go on for too long. But overall, it's been a positive experience so far.
I would also say that obviously with all the COVID happening and the volatility in the market, it's also obviously offered brokers a lot more revenue streams and having a bit more budget to put towards sponsorship. So maybe companies that couldn't take on sponsorships before that they can do now, So yeah, I think it's just all opportunity and how you work your budgets around it.
For us, budget was never an issue because LiberTex has been around for a long time. Actually, it was our 23rd year anniversary a couple of days ago. So the company has been growing over time, and we've been doing really well. And our, let's say, digital acquisition was, especially the last few years, was helping us achieve tremendous growth. We had a big focus on mobile, and we were spending a lot of money on mobile acquisition. And so the sponsorship is something that helps us reintroduce the brand to a wider audience, just to come and complement the digital spending. It's not like, oh, we've got some extra budget, we don't know what to do with it. Obviously, that's not the case. It was a very, calculated decision because you need to reinforce your branding. If you want to take your brand and your company to the next level, there's obvious examples in all industries, including our own, of the companies that are, achieving that next step and that next level of growth. Then you can't just concentrate on digital. Digital is great for acquisition. It is fantastic for a number of things. But, once you want to transcend and grow, truly grow on all channels, on all mediums, then you need to start doing things, that are a little bit more traditional. So, of course, the bulk of your budget is still on digital, it's still on mobile, where your acquisition is. But, you need the branding, you need the activations around the sponsorship, you need all of those things to come in and complement and help you expand and grow. And this is what we've been doing over the last few years with all the different sponsorships that we've been taking part of.
Matt, anything you want to add on that?
No, I think we've covered off lockdowns.
Thankfully. Well, we hope so. We hope so. I mean, it was fascinating for me because I would only see the sort of negative aspect of, such uncertainty. You look at, what's going to happen. I want to, it's important that it's good that you clarified that, say, it wasn't so much of a driving factor in a negative way, more in a positive way of let's look at how, how to explore the opportunity that we got now. And so in response to this new normal, how have brand partners and rights holders innovated their activation plans to achieve partnership success?
I mean, I think the guys have covered a lot of that off under the previous question. But I mean, I think it's a good opportunity for Louis, Marios, Jacob to talk about their businesses, which are primarily digital first businesses. And leveraging the large digital, social and TV reach that the clubs have.
So an example from our side, something that we have now with Tottenham, after every game, we have, Tottenham holds a vote online on all their social media channels about the man of the match, right? But it's sponsored by Libertex. So it's Libertex man of the match. The fans go crazy. The interaction level is, it's fantastic. So it's some sort of activation. It is around the game. It happens in real time. Of course, it's not the same as doing something on the ground in the stadium, physically doing it. Obviously, we can't do that anymore because of COVID. But it has given us, again, measurable and direct response, a lot of interaction with fans. We have polls. They vote on their favorite players, and we have a lot of plans on how to take that forward. Obviously, there's a lot of games we can't have events around each one, but big games, and there's some coming soon. We're playing Arsenal, which it's one of the most watched, let's say, derbies in London. We're planning some events around that, even as something as simple as the man of the match, so that we engage with the fans more, and hopefully even get something going a bit viral, because that's sort of the things you have to do now. We don't have the physical presence. We gotta try other things.
We've been very lucky, Marius, because the Spurs social media team has been on absolute fire this season.
Oh, they're great.
They're really
fantastic. No, they're doing really well. I mean, actually, if you look at the club, and one of the reasons why, during the selection process, obviously we had offers from a number of clubs. Matt knows this very well. But we were narrowing it down based on some very specific criteria. So at some point, it was a hard decision from us that we have to be in London, right? So immediately, that narrows it down quite a bit. But then, if you factor in the stadium that I mentioned before, because okay, we don't have access to it right now because of COVID, but it's going to be there for the next few years, and at some point, hopefully, we're going to be able to access that. But the social media team, actually the whole management team. From the club, the interaction, the way they bounce ideas off you. Those are the kind of things that really made us decide that Tottenham is a club for us to partner with, and we feel very, very, very happy about where we are, and all the other things that we see from the club's management. We had some fantastic signings. Obviously, we have great coaching staff. So I mean, if you really think about it, the only way is up. That's what we're hoping. Over the next few years, maybe a title or two. So let's see.
It's lucky for Spurs when the year ends in one.
Sorry, Louis, go ahead.
Jacob, you go.
What I was going to say is, I mean, kind of coming back to that direct question, the clubs have actually been, at least with West Ham, have been very good about their ability to think about outside the box. I mean, most of their kind of thought process in terms of activation was always around social media and in stadium. Of course, there's some charitable work that they've always thought about, and some other I think more traditional things that you see with sports sponsorships. But now we have gotten much more into the idea of doing webinars, very localized content, especially in Kenya, where they don't have a very strong media channel covering Premier League. All of them cover it, but trying to get media involved at a very intimate local level, also along with clients where they can participate with players at a, you know, this was just never done before, at least not in a way where they're looking to do it on a, you know, more common basis. You might get it as a part of your activation with your 3 or 4 or 5 players that you get as a part of your package once, you know, every half year or twice every half year. But now, you know, we're doing it on a monthly or sometimes weekly basis where clients can really feel, you know, and media can really feel like they get direct access to your sponsorship, to your team, and to your players that immediately help enforce the brand, and in some cases really do drive direct ROI. And I think from this, West Ham's been great in terms of thinking outside the box. I'm sure the other clubs have as well. And, you know, West Ham came to us and said, listen, I think in October we're going to get fans back in the stadium. And I mean, they can tell you, I said, I think you guys are absolutely crazy. There's no way that's going to happen. And, you know, I told them, like, for our sleeve sponsorship, which runs out at the end of this year, which hopefully we will renew, we think that we're going to be a sleeve sponsor, which is predominantly not related to having fans and us in your stadium. And we need to think about ways to drive that outside of normal activation channels, which we, you know, of course, everybody uses social, but we were really looking about how we can build events using online technology with clients, with media, to help when we do go back to the stadium to really see an immediate impact with our brand recognition and the clubs basically being able to reach in markets where they hadn't reached before, which we're actually good at, and they don't have the same level of reach, which I think is a very interesting dynamic outside of what you would see traditionally before this.
Okay,
Yeah,
go on, sorry, Louis. Go for it.
No, I was saying that for Axie, one of the things we realised very early on in discussions with Man City, and I'm sure the other gentlemen are seeing the same thing, is they're fan obsessed. The fans are the most important part of the club, and they make the club. They are the club. They're the DNA of the club. So from the very beginning, our goal was to connect with the fans before we did anything. We didn't just want to be another faceless corporation that just comes in and says, "Hey, we're Axie. Here's our product." We actually looked from the very beginning to say, "How do we connect with the fans? How are they feeling right now?" And obviously, with COVID, the feeling was missing not being in the ground, not being in the game, not being, and if they're not able to attend the game, being at a pub or a bar or a cafe with their friends, watching the game or around their own houses, etc. And that all became something that the fans couldn't do. So we've sort of grabbed on that sentiment, and we are really the sponsors of trying to connect fans with the club through various innovative process. I mean, we're a technology company, so we're looking at innovative and technology ways for us to connect fans with Manchester City. And we also dialed into the fan base in terms of, okay, who is an iconic fan of Manchester City? We soon targeted Jason Mansford, huge comedian in the UK, absolute huge fan of Manchester City, and we spoke to him about the fact that we wanted to engage with the fans. We felt that empathy, we felt that need to be closer, and he feels that just like any other fan, being remote from the club that he loves. And we did a great piece with him. He helped us launch our brand to the fans. He tweeted some of the activity in our launch video to his fan base. And he's a great ambassador because he not only is he well recognised in UK and globally in some of our key markets, but he's also a true fan. And that's given us instant credibility with the fan base, which has been fantastic. So for us, it's about connecting with the fans first and then finding ways and segments that really are interested in our products and how we can engage them.
I mean, with the connecting to the fans, I mean, from a bigger picture, a global perspective, we've seen a whole new generation of traders onboarded this year through record volatility across all asset classes and the rising popularity of zero-fee trading apps like Robinhood. Has this forced a strategic rethink of sponsorships and marketing strategies like esports? With a new generation of traders, how much of this has impacted your guys' decisions?
I think the main thing that we look at is where can we either expand the sponsorships that we do have, or where can we increase them? Because as it's been mentioned, while COVID has been absolutely awful for, at least from our standpoint in terms of strategy, it's been very good, and I think across the industry, for bottom line numbers, for new traders interested in the product. But building on that strategy for like a 6-12 month period is almost, at least for us, is impossible, because we're in places like Africa and Asia where we wanted to have a real local feel and be more grassroots as opposed to predominantly digital. So in terms of like the likes of Robinhood and zero fee trading, I think the one great thing that they do is they bring investing and trading to the masses. And anything that, whether it's Axie, Libertex, Robinhood, Scope Markets, or any other competitor, increasing the market share can't be a bad thing for anybody that is a true, professional global player in the market looking to bring investment services and trading services to a global audience. So from that standpoint, I think the one thing that we look at is, where can we do this again, and what parts of the world does it lends to our current strategy with regards to sponsorship.
Yeah, I think Jacob makes the point really well there, that trading, the exciting thing right now is they're looking to grow the market, not just take market share for each other. So there's a lot of similarities there to the explosive growth of online sport betting over the last 10 or 15 years, which is more a mainstream endeavor than trading. But I think that trading as a brand sector can also grow significantly and take advantage of this COVID boost that they've had in terms of mainstream awareness and getting new customers into trading from their core customers.
Absolutely. One of the things that we saw, and again, based similar on what Jacob just said before, different regions, different geographical regions have been reacting a little bit differently and interacting with their brand a bit differently. So we've seen different patterns in Latin America, where we have a big presence, compared to Europe, where Europe remained predominantly digital, and most of our acquisition is still based off of that. But in Latin America, we had to explore other aspects and other types of partnerships because it is a little bit more physical. People want to have that interaction. So we still have events. We have physical offices, so people still want to interact with the local agents, the local teams there. And it's similar to what we see in Asia. We have across Asia, which it was one of the first areas that was affected by COVID. Now we've seen a resurgence of a requirement from people to check if you're there physically. They want to make sure that they talk to our people on the ground. They want to interact with our offices there. And so it's quite a different experience. And the branding helps you do that. It reinforces a trust element. It reinforces the fact that, you're a visible company, that you have global partnerships, and it helps reassure them that, this is an established player that's been around, and, we see them on TV, we know they're there. So it just helps people in their mindset, and even in those locations where we don't acquire the clients mainly by digital channels, and it supports our partners, our affiliates, our IBs in those parts of the world. And it's really been very helpful.
I would also say that from a strategic perspective, there was a big question mark for brokers around how let's say positive it is using social media as focusing your social media strategy on bringing clients, actually activating and retaining clients. And I think now with what's happening with COVID, there's a lot more people online, obviously. We have a bigger and more captive global audience, and the uptick in social media usage is huge, you know, and I think that's where for sponsorships, obviously it's a perfect channel in order to target these potential clients and actual clients and keep them engaged, you know.
Yeah, speaking of potential clients, because I know we're getting close to the time, there's a couple of things I really want to get from you guys. We're seeing an increasing number of cryptocurrency and blockchain sponsorships. I think about the Watford and the Bitcoin off the top of my head. Do you envisage this trend changing the landscape of the sports sponsorship industry?
I don't think so. I mean, I think they're a part of kind of a group that we're all included in, which is, you know, trading and investing. Like, I think our industry, they've benefited in some ways from COVID. So they will have the opportunity to have money in their pockets and spend it. And I don't think like we're all geniuses in saying we're going to sponsor, you know, teams in the Premier League. There's a reason for that, and it's a global audience that provides a lot of brand awareness and recognition, and it puts you in a group that is, you know, fairly small in terms of who has the potential to sponsor these teams. And it's really I think everybody will say it adds value. In some cases it becomes less measurable, in some cases it becomes extremely measurable. And from that standpoint, these companies, I mean, they're not going anywhere. Governments haven't been able to stop you know, the crypto boom, if you will. In fact, it seems like it's being looked at more heavily as to, you know, okay, it's here to stay. It's not going anywhere. So I don't see how this would stop. I mean, Matt would probably have a better idea than all of us as to, you know, how that looks. But I don't know whether it makes our sponsorships, you know, the cost of it go up because you have another industry that has more money in their pockets. But at the end of the day, I think they're here to stay, and I think they're going to be, you know, competing for these sponsorships just like, you know, our group is.
Yeah, I mean, just to come in on that, I mean, I think earlier on in the chat we were talking about proof points, and for me the ultimate proof point is the consistent reinvestment from these sectors that come into football. It shows that something must work, and I think it's notable, you know, when you look at the top spenders in football, sportswear puts in about £1 billion sterling a year, financial services about £500 million. You know, it's notable that in fourth place, you know, online sports betting puts in 350 million a year. And obviously online sports betting as a sector didn't exist 15 years ago. And, you know, if you compare that to trading currently only invests 60 million a year. So I think, you know, trading in fintech and blockchain and whatnot. So I think that
the whatnot sounds exciting.
Grow. Sorry?
The whatnot sounds exciting.
I would also like to comment, sorry, that the fundamentals for the cryptocurrency companies are practically the same as our industry. You know, they want to get the same benefits that we do. It's the brand recognition, it's a trust element, it's visibility, and I would say that they might be at a slight advantage for at least some of us, because, you know, regulated companies can't really do absolutely everything they would have liked in terms of promotions. You know, for example, I would have loved to give away, you know, trips to London to watch games to some of our European clients, but unfortunately, because of regulation, I can't do that. But, you know, crypto companies don't have that kind of restrictions. They can actually activate a lot more aggressively than we can, and I think, you know, that's something that is going to be to their benefit. As long as, you know, clubs do their due diligence and partner up with crypto companies that are legit, that are solid, and good partners in the same way that they do their due diligence when they partner up with us, then I only think it's going to bring, you know, more legitimacy to the crypto industry by association, and it's going to help establish it for the long term. which is, you know, what I think everybody wants.
So you're not seeing it as competition where there's only a finite number of Premier League sleeves to sponsor, and now you've got these growing crypto companies also wanting to sponsor those sleeves as well. You don't see that as competition to you guys, raising the prices?
No, not at all. Not at all. I, as Matt quite rightly says, the investment from our industry and verticals in and around the trading and investing industry is in its infancy. You know, that was something that Matt pointed out to us very early on, that, you know, that compared to some of the other industries that are in this, we're at the early stages. And sort of relating to the question before, you know, actually we're here strategically to be appealing to a bigger audience, but we're offering an OTC derivative, and there's certain barriers to entry there. So for us, the strategy is to offer much more mass market products and services over time. So for us, the alignment with Manchester City and the new brand, which is a little bit younger and more disruptive, is a signal of where we're taking our business. And just like the guys on the call, I'm sure that the demographic, we're seeing a younger and younger audience attracted to our product. You know, we've gone from a median age of around about 35 to 40 to 21 to 26. And going from 20% mobile usage of our product to 80% over the last 2 or 3 years. And for us, that's a sign that the younger generation is engaged. They want to invest, and there are ways, products and services and strategies that we're looking at to engage that audience more widely. And with a 70+ million fan base, Manchester City is the perfect platform for a broker's evolution into those products. So I think it's an exciting time for anyone who's in there. There's plenty of room. And I think the Robin Hoods of this world are showing us that, you know, you can be a young company and see exciting growth if you have the right appeal and the right brand for the people that you're targeting. So there's plenty to take off the table, and I think there's a long future for the training investment community in the Premier League and in football in general.
Yeah, Louis, just coming in on that, I mean, all of those trends that you're seeing in consumption of your product, in terms of mobile usage, age, and so forth, are exactly the same trends that got driven through in online sport betting 10, 15 years ago. So, you know, in terms of context, I mean, we obviously talked about financially trading putting in 60 million a year at the moment, and online sport betting putting in 350. In terms of partnerships, trading, there are 43 partnerships, and online sport betting 315. So there's considerable headroom for more investment from online trading and other crypto-backed businesses. And I think we're seeing that in the world anyway right now.
Yeah, Matt, I've seen you on LinkedIn quite a bit. I mean, I think you say it pretty much every week. This now integration between football, fashion, and music. You know, this is going to evolve into a multi-portfolio partnership experience where we're trying to appeal to all the senses. So I think, you know, the people that are starting to, you're seeing esports, fashion companies designing jerseys, players being involved with fashion and music brands. I think that's an evolution that's super exciting, and it's a sign that the younger demographic are an important segment for the trading investment community and anybody interested in global partnerships. So exciting times.
Yeah, and I think sorry, Joseph. Sorry, Jacob.
No problem. I was just going to say very, you know, quickly on the back of that. I think, you know, we all do this to reach as many people as we possibly can around the globe and localize it where we can. But you know, from a competition standpoint, you know, and Matt says about spend, the more people in our industry that are spending on sponsorships just means that the product itself gets out there, and there should be more people with their eyes on it. So whether that's crypto trading, whether that's trading in physical shares, whether that's investing, whether that's CFD trading, the more it helps bring the level of, you know, our target audience, the better it is for everybody. And I don't think anybody in sports betting would say, listen, because Bet365 owned Premier League for a solid, you know, 5 to 7 years, that they somehow didn't benefit from that, because I think that's definitely not the case. And, you know, if Axie, Libertex, and whoever on the crypto space decide to sponsor more teams and increase their sponsorship, and for whatever reason I drop off, I don't think I'm going to see any harm in that. I think I'm going to see benefit. And I think, you know, crypto companies, as long as they're legit, as long as they don't poison the industry with things that we've seen from our industry, and you know, it's becoming less and less as regulation becomes more and more prominent, and as the players really become more professional and establish themselves, the better that is for all of us. I can't see how it's you know, anything but good.
We need the right kind of people. Sorry, Ben.
No, go for it.
We need the right kind of people from all industries, you know, and the right brands, the right mindset to manage these relationships. And it doesn't matter who can afford to buy a sponsorship or to invest into a sponsorship. Sometimes it's also what you do with it. I think everybody on this panel can probably name a couple of companies that went into very high profile sponsorships in the past. They spent a lot of money and they didn't do anything with it. I mean, honestly, I think Laura knows some companies that I'm referring to. I think actually all of you do. But, you know, they spend a boatload of money. They go for the top clubs in different leagues. You know, it could be the Spanish league, it could be the Italian league. But, you know, they spend the money and then they do absolutely nothing with it. They don't engage on social media. They don't use it on their branding. They honestly, they just waste the money. And that's what I would call a vanity project. Actually, I would even call it stupidity. They don't do anything with it. And it's just a complete waste. And that's why, you know, you need a long-term commitment. You need to engage with the fans, with the club. You need to show them that, you know, you're not just there to try and milk some benefit out of it and then just not even do that right. You need to show that, you know, you are part of that community. You are part of the club. You want to promote the club. And, you know, their stress about doing well, it's, you know, it's something you share, and you have a lot of shared beliefs and common goals. And that's absolutely something that, you know, we want to do, and we want to maintain these relationships. The moment we can't do that, then we don't want to be part of this anymore, you know, and that's
what drives you to be successful. I mean, the club wants you to be successful, you know, because at the end of the day, you renew your sponsorship, you invest more. Yeah.
I think everybody has, sorry, Marius, I think everybody has to understand going into this. And if you've never done sports sponsorship before, and luckily I'd been a part of a couple of brokerages that had done it before, you know, you start to understand that actually, you know, when you sign the contract, that's the easiest part. You know, your first lump sum payment or monthly payment is the easiest part. You have to be really clear on what you're able to achieve in terms of activation. And when we did our first sponsorship with West Ham, we knew that we weren't going to be so strong on activating all of the rights that we were given because we didn't have the team to do it. And we didn't have, you know, it wasn't a part of our strategy to go and hire either outsource help or more people to activate those rights. And we were very upfront with West Ham about that, and they were able to help us activate some of our rights with their teams. So I think, you know, if you're not looking at it from some level of strategy as to how you're going to use this sponsorship, then as Mario said, and as we talked about, it just does become a vanity project. And I don't think any of the panelists here and the clubs that they're sponsoring and the companies that are sponsoring them are doing that. I mean, I think everybody has looked at it quite heavily going into it as to what they can and can't achieve and where they're looking to grow or extract value.
Yeah.
Brilliant. Well, folks, unfortunately, we've got to wrap it up here. I'm getting angry messages from Jenny. It has been an absolute pleasure. I really do appreciate the insights, the analysis, and basically getting to know at the very heart of a very big, growing, and interesting industry. Thank you so much, guys. Matt, Laura, Marius, Louis, and Jacob. Thank you all to the viewers. This will be available online afterwards. Enjoy the rest of the Finance Magnets Virtual Summit.
Thank you.
Thank you for
having us.
Bye.